Hello once again, and I am Fred Earls, Director of Communication with New Foundations, and we are a nonprofit in Bainbridge, Georgia. With me once again is Dr. Sharon Brown, our CEO. Good morning, Dr. Sharon.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Fred.
And yes, we were recording and laughing at the same time. We have an awesome few minutes ahead of us. If we get everything covered in the time that we've said we're going to stop in, it'll be a miracle. I'm just going to tell you that.
Yes.
But just briefly, New Foundations works with individuals and families to help those who need a hand in getting back to life, getting life back to the way it should be. And everybody has problems of some sort, but some need help getting their problems figured out. And that's where we step in, that's where we help. And of course, you are not only the CEO, but you're also a counselor, a licensed counselor, and we've covered some of the important things in some previous videos. So I want to jump right in, okay, with a favorite topic. You're like, hey, you are ready to go, aren't you? Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Is there a difference between ADD and ADHD, or are they the same?
Okay, so I have to say that before we actually start recording our talks, we do have these conversations before kind of working out some of the details of what we're actually going to
Yes,
record.
we do.
So that's why, I get so excited beforehand. And so it's fun to sit here and do this and to talk to you, Dr. Fred, but to also, get excited about my work and what I do and wanting to help people understand what's going on.
And
So
your passion shows, and I do really mean that. That for the people who do not know you, I can attest that you'd only just do this. You enjoy it. You enjoy helping other people.
yes, 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 yes. And so as we were talking before, about ADD and ADHD, and we'll I'm not going to get into all of that because we're trying to keep this short today, so people can finish looking at it. And so I'm just gonna kind of skip over and try not to let my ADHD, quote unquote ADHD, get in the way of trying to get this video where we want it today.
Okay, I'm
Um,
already going to reel you back in. Are ADHD, ADD, are they the same?
are they saying yes and no? Okay, so what? Yeah.
Hold on, no, hold on. I'll come back. Okay, so basically, what are some of the criteria then of ADHD?
So we, as I think a society, know or are familiar with that term ADHD. Sometimes people say ADD or ADHD or both. Our criteria, and I think again we are so familiar with it because of of it just being almost a common household term. When we see someone hyperactive, when we see someone, children predominantly, not being able to focus in school and concentrate on their schoolwork and distracted by everything that moves around them. We see symptoms of not being able to complete our work, um, being impulsive, and just, all of a sudden get up and do something. Fidgety. You might see some of this in me. So, but that fidgetiness, what else? I mean, there's just so many different things that we see
Okay,
that
what
we.
about this version, adult ADHD?
Um, so,
Let
I,
me ask you this. Is it a real thing?
so there is not a diagnosis
Okay,
in
hold on. We'll come
DSM.
back to it. Uh, my third point I want to just ask you briefly about, then we're going to let you loose, is are these overdiagnosed?
Oh
I know
yeah.
that's a loaded question. Can you give us a short answer for here?
Yes, I believe that they are.
Okay.
Dr. Sharon believes that they are overdiagnosed. Yes.
Okay, let's go back to number one. So let's turn you loose a little bit here. ADD, ADD, ADHD. They're similar. They're different. In just a few minutes, what are we looking at here?
Okay, so these are acronyms for attention deficit disorder and the ADD, attention deficit disorder, and ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Okay,
Okay.
so we kind of have almost two different diagnoses in that. However, the DSM does not separate them in that
DSM.
DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
It's
Okay,
the rule book, basically.
this is a rule book for us, for psychiatrists, for psychologists. Yes, that's our manual that tells us what the criteria is for all the mental disorders that we diagnose.
Okay.
So, as I said, the DSM does not differentiate between the two in the criteria. Um, Previous DSMs had it listed as ADD, okay, attention deficit disorder. However, if we added in the hyperactivity, there was a different specification, a different uh, code, I guess, that kind of went with that ADD.
Okay.
Now they've just kind of combined them in the DSM-5, our recent manual. However, there's still the difference in the codes. So you can have just the attention deficit part without necessarily the hyperactivity. That's going to look like kids that um, are distracted, or kind of looking around. They can't seem to stay focused. They forget what they go into a room for, and that's where a lot of the adults say, "Oh, I have adult ADHD." And we'll get to that shortly, but that's where that comes in. So
Okay.
we have some attention problems, staying focused, being able to read a book and to uh, retain what we've read or what we've learned.
All right.
Hyperactivity, impulsivity, we have that added piece now of, just we're fidgety, we can't sit in our seats, we get up, we walk around, we want to talk to our friends all the time, and it interrupts also that learning process. It is, we have seems like, again, when we talk about adults, we just our mind is constantly spinning, and we've got all these thoughts going on in our head. um, as I've kind of exaggerated today, some excitement, but ADHD is a little bit more than just that excitement.
So
It
the
is.
child with ADD may go from working on a worksheet to reading the book and not finishing either one of them. But with ADHD, there's that fidgety on top of moving from one thing to the
Yes,
next.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Either one of these diagnosed with a prescription or any type of medicine as a help.
um yes, I mean,
Okay.
we see, the medications for ADHD, ADD, ADHD, as the stimulants normally. And we're not going to get into the medication today because
Right.
you didn't ask me that question, and
Yeah, you're
I
right. I
was
didn't.
prepared to
It
answer
just
that.
boing.
Yeah. However, I will say that it seems odd that we would give a someone with ADHD hyperactivity a stimulant, but actually it has that reverse effect for that ADHD.
Two
So,
positive equal a negative.
hmm, yeah,
Sounds good. Okay, let's go. The criteria, and that adult HD, ADHD, what is
mhm.
that all about?
So in recent years, we've heard a lot about adult ADHD, and people are coming up with saying, "Hey, do I have adult ADHD? I feel like I have adult ADHD." Um, there's not a diagnosis for adult ADHD.
Okay. Then
The
where does it come from?
Well, so I will say this: the DSM tells us that ADHD, these symptoms of ADHD, are going to happen before the age of 12.
Okay.
So if you truly have ADD or ADHD, you're going to be seeing some of these symptoms before 12 years old, before you're an adult.
Probably will come out in schoolwork since that's the bulk of your life at that point.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
So, and I like to say also, and I didn't think about this earlier, but as I'm thinking about it, and one of the things that I like to make sure that people understand is that the DSM also says that these symptoms are present in at least two settings. So you were talking about school. Yes, we're going to see it in school, but we're also going to see it somewhere else, either
Okay.
after daycare or at home, or some other setting that that child is going to be in.
Okay.
So that to me is really important to be able to look at. um, if you've got a child who is misbehaving and acting out at home, but yet they're at school and making straight A's and are good students, mm, something's not measuring up.
Okay.
So there's something
There's
else
another issue there.
right. So we're talking about the adult ADHD. I think a lot of times as adults we think, well, yeah, I must have adult ADHD. Like I said, if you didn't have it when you were younger, I mean, unless they change something with the DSM and research says something different, I'm gonna have to tell you, no, you don't have adult ADHD if you didn't have it as a kid. Now,
Okay.
you could have been undiagnosed as a kid, which is understandable, but not normally. You got some things that are going to show up. Um, so kind of moving on to that third question, Fred, is when we feel like that we have adult ADHD, what are those symptoms? What are those things that are going on in your life that is making you think that there is some adult ADHD? So like I said earlier, well, we walked into a room and now we've already forgot what we were walking into the room for. Okay. What
Okay. I'm president of the club.
else? How many of us do that? But
Right.
the thing is, well, what are we? What's happened from the time that we got up to go into the other room? And so we have to look at that. What else has happened? Not just physically happened, like the dog jumped on me, or my wife called me, or my phone rang, but also, what's going on in here? I've got to get up to go to the other room to get me a bottle of water. But as I'm going, I'm also thinking about what I'm supposed to be doing in 5 minutes after I get my bottle of water, or what just happened with the dog, and what was going on in the house, and we're thinking about all that. So when we get to the room, we're like, so what was I supposed to be doing? So not only that's just one simple example, but we have so many different things going on in our mind that it distracts us from what we're doing. Also, we think about what, um, all, just so much energy, I guess,
Mhm.
so much going on. Um, just
Well, I can tell you this from my studies in the field of communication, everybody says they can multitask, and study after study after study, and we're not even going here, but it says you can't multitask. That when you do try to multitask, you forget things.
Mhm.
And if you're like me, when you get up to go get the bottle of water, before you get there, you're already thinking about something that happened this morning that
Oh,
you meant to do by now, or you made a mental note that you need to do before the day is over.
right, right. Hmm. And that's what I'm saying. And so that's just getting up to go get the bottle of water. But like I
Right.
said, we've got so many things that are going on in our head that's happening so fast, and so we're trying to keep up with it, and it's just it's not working. And
Okay.
so I have a hard time staying focused
Yeah.
in a recording, because I'm thinking, oh, what's the next thing I need to say,
Right.
or what do I need to do after this? What about my session that's coming up? And so it's just happening so fast. And so
Okay.
it's like you said. I mean, if I start thinking about my next session, I forget what I'm saying here, because now I can't multitask. I can't think of two things at one time.
That's
So
right.
if I lose my focus, I have ADHD.
Something's gotta go because something stepped in to take its place.